Mary, what have you been watching over the last wee while, given the fact that we've not really done this for it's been a couple of months actually since we've done what we've been watching, based on the fact that we've been doing our collaboration podcast. We didn't want to inflict this on the people we were inviting on. We still wanted them to talk to us afterwards. So
yes,
anyway, what have you been watching?
So, oh gosh, I'll crack on. So I'll go TV first. I watched a drama series on Netflix called Unchosen, which stars Christopher Eccleston as a sort of cult leader in sort of rural England, and it's basically like a sort of spin-off of some sort of, like, you would assume, sort of like Mormon or evangelical Christian church, and they all live in the middle of nowhere in England, and they're not allowed to use technology, and they basically get married really young, have loads and loads of babies. It started off as a very good premise. Christopher Eccleston was a good villain in it, but I think it was about 8 or 10 episodes, and honestly it could have been 4. The story felt very stretched out and just completely unbelievable. Like, what the young girl who's the kind of lead in it, she decides she's going to escape, and somehow she just knows how the world works. Like, when she gets out to the other side, like, she knows how to, dress properly, and like, it just, none of it made sense, because if you were that sheltered and you'd never even used a phone or the internet, like, you would not be able to just assimilate into society and stuff like that. It was just, it was far too long for what it was, and having looked at some reviews online, I'm not the only person that felt that way, which was a shame, because it was quite a good premise. I also watched Should I Marry a Murderer, which is a documentary on Netflix. I don't know if you remember this. There was a murder case in Scotland a while ago about a cyclist who was sort of mown down in the middle of the night in the Highlands, and it took them ages to find out who had done it. So this was a documentary about the girlfriend of the farmer who committed the murder, but we were all talking about it in work. She obviously has some sort of like histrionic personality disorder, because some of the stuff that she was cracking jokes about was just insane. And then she basically, while she was with him and she knew what he had done, she was making all these Snapchat videos of herself. Like, there was a day where she dodged going to court, and it was just her by a waterfall lip syncing to Edith Piaf, "Je ne regrette rien." It was mental. Oh, if you need a good, like, true crime watch, I would highly recommend it, but you will sit with your jaw on the floor for the vast majority of it, because it was just insane. I also watched the second season of Last One Laughing on Amazon Prime, because David Mitchell is my ultimate crush. I love David Mitchell because not only am I marked from Peep Show, because I'd rather stay in with a takeaway and a good history documentary, but I think he's so clever and he's so funny. And it was a good cast this time around. It had, like, Bob Mortimer was back, the girl who plays Philomena Crunk and stuff like that, and the young Australian comedian Sam. Some of the stuff that they were doing was obviously absolutely nuts, and I find it really funny. And Chris and I tried to watch it and say, right, we'll not laugh as well, to see if we can be in the competition. I didn't last 5 minutes. So,
it's the same.
It's really, really funny to watch them obviously trying to keep their face together. Like, sometimes they just have to take a deep breath and sort of remove themselves from a situation. So I really enjoyed that. Good. Other TV, I watched Prisoner because it had Tahar Rahim in it. It was a Sky drama, also pants really bad. It just, the CGI explosions were bad. It had the girl Leonie Benesh in it, who was in that The Teacher's Lounge and Late Shift, which were 2 films which I really, really loved. It just, it was so unbelievable, like the twists and stuff that it took, and it just, I'm sorry to say, it wasn't good. On the upside, what was good was the first half of season 2 of Rivals. The second half of this season isn't coming out until October or November, which makes me really sad. However, Danny Dyer, the sex symbol, continues to be a thing. Who knew? And I really loved this season. And the last episode, that obviously is the big dramatic cliffhanger for October or November, I was in floods of tears. Like, it was really, I thought that the messaging, the story about, in particular women who just sort of put up with the bad behaviour of men, I thought was really quite powerful and beautifully acted. And I was just in complete floods of tears. I thought it was so well done. And speaking of well done television, I binged my way through seasons 1 and 2 of Interview with a Vampire, the TV series, because I kind of thought that season 3 would come to the UK at the same time as the US. However, that's not the case. I'm going to have to wait for it.
Okay.
But it is absolutely brilliant. It's so well done. So again, it's told from the perspective of giving an interview to a journalist, but the dynamic between the two leads, it's fantastic. And Sam Reid is the perfect Lestat de Lioncourt. He's just a complete bastard, and he's so good. And it's quite violent in places, and it's really sad. Season 2 definitely had me in tears a few times as well. The performances are great. It feels really like true to the period that it's set in, and there are vampire tropes, but they kind of play around with that as well. Like they mock some of the tropes, like, oh, he thinks a string of garlic is going to help him here, and so like they're quite playful with some of the sort of ways to kill vampires sort of thing. So I would highly recommend that. This online fandom is a bit insane, as you can probably imagine. So I'm trying to avoid spoilers for season 3 before it comes here. But I think it was BBC iPlayer actually that I got seasons 1 and 2 off of. So I think it'll probably come through the BBC again at some point. It's AMC in America. So
yes, probably. Yeah.
So big list of films to go through, so I'll not prattle on too much. I rewatched The First Omen for Final Girls, which I can't express how much I love that film. Like every time I watch it, it's like looking at a Renaissance painting. It's just absolutely stunning. And I think I had just read a book as well about different types of feminist horror, and they talked about forced pregnancy as a horror trope, like of Rosemary's Baby, that sort of thing. And I'd never really thought of that before. But obviously it fits into essentially patriarchal cycles that come around in politics, and how the films kind of mirror that. And The First Omen definitely fits into that really nicely. My lovely husband took me to see Mortal Kombat 2. Do you know what? It does exactly what you think it's going to do. There's lots of big fights. There's lots of, CGI set pieces, all that sort of thing. And I was going to call him Butcher. That's terrible. The guy from The Boys. Yes, he obviously appears in it as well, and he's quite he's a former stunt man with a kind of stunt film career behind him, so he's like this kind of cocky sort of character. And do you know what? See, is a bit of like total fluff to watch. It does exactly what you think it's going to do. So if you like that sort of film, it's definitely worth looking at. I also received a copy of Insomnia, the original film starring Stellan Skarsgård, to watch for a Nordic watch list. God, that film is so good. Like, it just makes you feel so sweaty and disorientated, and like the light is so blinding, and everyone is just sort of like sleek with lack of sleep and confusion. And it's funny because I actually had seen that first before I watched the remake with Al Pacino and Robin Williams. And although that is a good solid film, like I'm not denying that, I feel like there's just something about the original that you can't quite capture. And again, I think it comes down to this sort of like cultural thing of 24 Hours of Sun, obviously, in this particular area. That was really good. And early Stellan Skarsgård, I think, because so much of what you see of him now, he's doing a lot of English language projects as well. I always think it's really nice to go back to some of his earlier work where he is obviously acting in his native tongue, because again, it just gives someone a different sort of type of performance as well. So, not so good for Nordic Watch List was a film called Kraken, which is about the deep sea monster, but it was trying to be a sort of environmentalist piece about how we shouldn't disturb the oceans. And what I will say about a film called Kraken was that there was just not enough Kraken in the film. I think I saw like one tentacle for the entire 90-minute run, so it just was not that broad, but a good concept, but just didn't work. I also watched The Night Comes for Us, which stars the guy who was in The Raid. A very, very brutal film about rival gangs and sort of subterfuge, people all lying to each other, who's loyal, who's not. Some of the violence in this, like there's a particular scene where there's a big standoff between the two lead characters, and one ducks out the way and a guy, the other ends up smashing his foot into a metal pole, and the echo of that pole and the vibe like actually made me like once while I was watching it. You know, you've watched. There is also, just to be clear, there's another scene in this film where somebody gets their testicles removed with a claw hammer. That didn't make me wince as much as the foot going into a pole. I think because obviously I know what that feels like. I don't know what getting your balls removed feels like, but it's on Netflix. It's very violent. If you like, as I say, the raid style sort of set pieces, you know, big, beautifully choreographed fight sequences, very, very good watch. I also watched, obviously, The Mandalorian and Grogu. You will hear no bad words from me about that film. I cried about 16 times. I am still watching videos from the press tour because I cannot stand how cute the Grogu animatronic is. Like, they're making him, like, try a little bracelets. There was a video of him making sushi, and he got rice all over his face. So, yes, I will only say good things about that. And I took a wee movie free trial so I could watch a few films that I wanted to see on there as well. So I watched La Grazia, which is our lovely friend Tony Servillo, as an Italian Prime Minister who's getting ready for retirement. Oh, what a gorgeous film that was. Like, genuinely just stunning to look at. And he is so good as the sort of elder statesman getting ready to give away the last sort of semblance of power that he has. He's got a very forceful daughter who has him on this ridiculous diet of like steamed fish and rice, and all he wants is a big takeaway pizza and a cigarette and a glass of wine. And it's well acted, beautifully shot, and just really nice just a really good solid story to fall into as well. I also watched The Sound of Falling, which is a German film that's set across different generations of the same family on the same farmhouse in, well, what would have been East Germany. So it starts off at like 1914 and sort of works up to present day. And it's the different girls in the family that the story is told from. So it starts off with the mum and the dad purposely breaking the brother's leg so he doesn't have to go to war in 1914, moves through to obviously Nazi occupation and then communism and through to present day as well. And there's a lot of like family secrets, and there's the girls are sort of piecing together who they are through the past, and you get sort of flashbacks of different stories. Very, very heavy film. Only watch that if you're in a really good mood. I also watched Sirat, which is the story of a father who looks for his daughter who's gone missing in the desert. She's on her way to a festival and he is trying to find her, and he takes his young son along. This has been a bit of a festival circuit darling. It's quite abrasive to watch. Like, the music's very loud, the scenery's like, it feels very oversaturated. Like, it's kind of an assault on the senses, and I think it is supposed to be. And there's a couple of twists in the film that are so shocking because they just come out of nowhere. But a very good watch, but again, like, probably one you'd have to like really be in the mood to focus on. Lastly, I watched In the Mouth of Madness because we had Sam Neill season at Final Girls, and lovely Emma gave us all temporary Sam Neill tattoos that we were cutting about with for a long period of time. I'd never seen that before, but I really enjoyed it, about an insurance broker essentially who goes to investigate the case of a missing author. And as he investigates the case, he sort of finds himself in the story of the book that the author is just about to publish. So lots of good practical horror effects, lots of nonsensical Twin Peaksy type of vibes. So I really enjoyed that. But then again, I would watch Sam Neill reading the phone book. And Chris and I sat down to watch Die, My Love, because we really wanted to see that at the cinema and we completely missed it. It's the Lynn Ramsey film about essentially postnatal depression. And had I watched that last year when it came out, that would have been top 10 of the year material. Jennifer Lawrence and Robert Pattinson were absolutely superb in it. It was so well acted, so beautifully shot. I loved the ambiguity of the ending, and yeah, it was just a phenomenal film. It totally blew me away. It was one of those films where after we had watched it, I was just sitting in complete silence. I was just so moved by what I had seen. And on a similar vibe, Chris got a copy of Incendies, the Denis Villeneuve film about it's a set of twins whose mother, who's from the sort of Levant region, has passed away. And she gives them 2 letters, and they are given a task to find their father and to find their other brother. And once they have done that, they can get essentially the rest of the will that she has left behind. And it sort of goes back in time to look at the mother's youth in this area when there was a lot of religious conflicts, and she obviously had a child out of wedlock very young. Yeah, that was another one where I'd seen the ending before in a random like Watch Mojo clip of like 10 plot twists you'll never see coming. So I'd seen the plot twist, but I didn't know the context of it. And yeah, that was another one where I was just sat afterwards going, oh my God, I need a moment to digest that. Very, very different to the rest of his types of films, but an incredible story and so well acted. And yeah, just a real gut punch at the end when you just go, oh fuck, this is. And it's one of those films where you kind of feel like you might know where this is going. You're never going to guess where it's going, and it's really bad. I'll not say anything else in case anyone's not seen it.
I've never seen that film at all. It sounds really good though. Excellent.
Do you know what? It's definitely worth watching. Yeah.
So I should have told you that I'd let my movie login lapse. I am going to pick up again in a couple of months' time.
Okay.
I'd completely forgotten about it because I had just so much other stuff to watch, and I thought I'll just leave it for a couple of months.
It's inexpensive. It's well, I only did it through Amazon because they were offering, as I say, a 7-day free trial, and it was whilst I was in between jobs. So I thought, I'll just take this out and I'll blast a few films that I want to see. But on Amazon, it was saying it was £12 a month.
It is, yeah.
After the free trial, I thought it was cheaper than that.
No, I normally get the annual one, and it's just under £100 for the annual one, which is not bad compared with.
I suppose when you put it like that, yeah.
And there is a decent amount of stuff on it, but just because there's so much stuff, there's things that I haven't watched on across like all of the other services, and I thought I need to sort of give up something for a couple of months so that I'm not, completely overburdened. My watch list is getting ridiculous.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
I've not seen, and every week there's something new coming out. So like there was a new season of Citadel, which I haven't watched, and there's a Spider-Man Noir again.
Still haven't watched that. I still haven't watched the second season of I forgot the name of it, Fallout. And I had those 2 weeks off, and I thought that's great. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to watch all of this stuff. And then, sure as fate, it was sunny, so you're not wanting to necessarily sit inside. And then you end up, because you're off, your day somehow disappears. So like the half the stuff that I wanted to watch, I'm like, I've run out of time. How is that possible? But you do.
Okay, for what I've been watching, I'll just sort of truncate it because obviously, as I said before, it's been.
Oh yeah, there's a bigger list. I just tried to.
Oh yeah.
Just tried to do the main ones.
So obviously, I've got an awful lot of stuff that sort of is on continuous watch. It's all series stuff, which we've mentioned before, so I won't mention most of it. I started watching Star Trek Starfleet Academy, which is based around sort of the Starfleet Academy. It's Molly Hunter is the admiral in charge of it, and so far it's quite good. It's very similar to a lot of other sort of Star Trek things out there. And Starfleet Academy is one of these things that's been sort of talked about for years and years. There was going to be a film of it initially, and it was going to have like all these. It was going to be aimed very much at the sort of the young adult audience, and especially things like when Hunger Games all come out. We can sort of jump in and do that, but it never came to anything until quite recently. So it is a series on Paramount Plus at the moment, and it's good. It's not outstandingly good or anything, but I think it will develop over time and become something quite good. It's got the potential for doing that, which is quite good. And there's not a lot of sort of big names in it either. So you, apart from like Muller and Mulder, I think Stephen Colbert's in it as well. And there's a few people that are kind of dotted about. I don't think he's in very much or anything, but there's plenty of potential for all these sort of stories, and it's the usual thing, like clashes between different species and all this, and just trying to get.
And also,
this kind of stuff.
when it's not all big names, you're like, I feel like that ups the ante of people who could die as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I started watching Ponies on Sky Atlantic. That's Emilia Clarke, about two wives of American. Well, on the front of their American diplomats working out of the Soviet. I think it's the Moscow embassy, American embassy in Moscow. But they are actually CIA agents, and they get killed in the job. So the wives Amelia Clark and another woman, they get shipped back to America, and then they come up with the idea of, well, we've spent time in Russia, we've been in and around Moscow and everything. The Moscow security services don't follow the wives because they don't think that they're spies in any way, so therefore we could do that. And ponies comes from the term of people of no interest at all. So therefore they have a wee bit more freedom to do things spy and all that, but the downside is they're not very good at it. So it's because obviously they weren't trained initially to do this, but it's actually quite good. I've watched maybe 2 or 3 episodes of that. It's fairly decent, sort of standard 45-minute run time. It looks really good. You know, there's been a lot of money pumped into production and everything, and the story is quite interesting as well because nobody thinks that they can do anything about it. But obviously there's a certain amount of potential there as well to do it. Because I had eventually finished Breaking Bad, I am now watching the last season of Better Call Saul, which I'd never watched. I'd watched maybe 5, I think it was now. The last one's sitting there, so I've started watching that. And the program, the quality of this program is just incredibly high. It's just so good. It just kind of nicely rolls along for the whole sort of, I think it's like 8-10 episodes at most. It's just brilliant. Absolutely fantastic writing, absolutely fantastic acting and everything as well. Don't really want to say very much about the plot, obviously, because when you get to season 6, it can get quite detailed about who's there and who's not there, who's still alive, that kind of thing. What else? Oh, I've been watching Tucci in Italy, the new season of that, which is brilliant. He just goes around and tries all these different local foods and just makes faces because he's just going, oh, it's fantastic, brilliant. Right? Just everything he tries, he loves. Which I actually, to be fair, everything that you see on screen looks absolutely fantastic anyway, and it's all the different regions and everything. So that was really good. It's just been announced that his next one is going to be in Great Britain.
I saw that.
So
he
that
was in a restaurant in Edinburgh the other night because they posted a picture of him and a wee video about him saying how good the food was. So I don't know if he's going to stop. I mean, surely, like, there must be some Scottish stops with all the good seafood and stuff that we have. So
absolutely, It'll be all over the whole of the United Kingdom, I'd imagine. So he'll be over in Ireland and but like you say, there's an awful lot of seafood to be had in the likes of Scotland. So and everywhere. You know, there's all these nice wee places everywhere. And it's the same idea as Italy. It's variations in the theme with the Italian stuff. It's all the stuff that they're producing locally, all the different types of tomatoes that they have and all that, and how that gets used in certain types of sauces. And and the fact that a lot of it's born out of peasant food, which is the same here as well. You know, it's out of necessity. A lot of things are cuts that weren't getting used for anything else. So therefore, people make use of them in very creative ways in order just to eke out a dinner, make it last a wee bit longer, that kind of idea. So I think it's ideal, and it's a great program because he's just lovely. He's a very good presenter, and the fact that he can speak Italian fluently means that you don't have to have this sort of stilted conversation in English or having to seek out people who speak English. It's all very natural, and I think you get that impression with everyone he's speaking to, because he's speaking to them in Italian, then they can express themselves more fully. And, you know, a cookery program with subtitles, who cares, you know?
I know. Because it's more authentic.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And it's a cross between a sort of travelogue and a food program and all that. But he goes to some really interesting places. He doesn't just stick in sort of main centres. He's dotting about all over the place. So, that's always quite good as well. Honestly, I don't know why I watched this program. I started watching a program called Best Medicine as well, which is on Sky Living, which is a bit weird in itself because it's actually made by, I think it's shown in Hulu in the States, which is obviously Disney, but this thing is on. And it's a remake of the ITV drama Doc Martin, if you remember that. Martin Clunes TV show. Where he's a fish out of water doctor in a small town. It's the same idea with Josh Charles, who's in The Good Wife. You will know him. He's very sort of arrogant and stuck up as one of the lawyers in our program, and he's arrogant and stuck up as a doctor in this program. And it's just this doctor going back to a wee town that he used to live in, and the sort of the stories all around that. And it's twee and it's a bit naff, And there's been 3 episodes shown so far, and I've watched all of them. It's just a real sort of comfort watch. You just watch it and you think, yeah, it's all right. It was, and Leslie came in while I was watching it, and she was like, what are you doing? What are you watching this for? This is rubbish. And this was within about 2 minutes of it actually being on. It was just, this is just rubbish. And I says, I know it is, but I'm going to watch it anyway.
But sometimes you just need the rubbish. Like it is. It's like a soothing balm for all, because we watch a lot of stuff, and sometimes you need the kind of slightly mindless stuff to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's in the same category as that Don Johnson High Seas drama, where it's the cruise ship and something happens. It's the doctors and the cruise ship. It's that same sort of vibe, you know. Yeah. Terrible things go wrong. Maybe somebody gets like quite seriously injured and somebody's life's in peril. But you know, it's quite nice to be fishing village and this sort of thing, you know. So yeah, it's a bit quirky and a bit strange, but it's all right, you know. Let me see what else. Right, film-wise, I watched Rye Lane, which is on BBC iPlayer. That's the David Johnson romantic comedy drama kind of thing. It's something like 85 minutes long. It's fantastic. Really, really good story about a guy who it's in the aftermath of him getting dumped, and he meets somebody else who's this sort of larger than life presence, and they spend basically a day wandering around London and the adventures they got up to and all that. It's really good. It's a cracking wee movie, and it's one of these ones you just sit down, you watch it, and you kind of lose yourself in it completely. I also watched The Company of Wolves. I don't know if you've seen that, from 1984.
Is this the Vincent Cassel film?
This is earlier. This is the one. It's got Angela Lansbury, Stephen Rea, and David Warner in it. It's based pretty much on the Big Bad Wolf fairy tale.
I'm getting mixed up. There's a Vincent Cassel film which is based on the Big Bad Wolf fairy tale, and it's not good.
Yeah, I think I've seen that actually as well. No, this is from Neil Jordan.
All right, okay.
It's actually pretty good. It's a very much a British film, but it's like very nice fantasy elements to it. But it is quite sort of, you can tell it was all done in sound stages and all this kind of thing, because the woods and all that look a wee bit, you know.
Is the background moving?
Put together. Well, not so much that, but there's an awful lot of mist and smoke which kind of hides a few things. But it's a really good story. It works really well in terms of the story and everything. I was really quite impressed by it. I remember seeing it at the time when it came out, and it was on Talking Pictures TV, I think. And definitely worth a watch. It's only about an hour and a half again, so it's all right. Watched Hokum, which we won't talk about because we will probably talk about in a future episode in more depth. Watched Passenger as well, the other recent horror film, which I really enjoyed. It's not particularly original or anything. It's basically about travellers disappearing in the American highways. This whole sort of community of people who just live out of their vans, and it's this young couple who start doing it, and they get into a situation. They see a crash, and they get into the situation where the spirit, or is it a spirit, attaches itself and tries to get them and all that. So it's kind of like, ooh.
This is Andre Øvredal, isn't it? It's the director of The Autopsy of Jane Doe and Last Voyage of the Demeter. Yeah, I liked both those films, so I do want to see that.
Yep. I haven't seen the Voyage film, although it's on my queue in Netflix, because it's been there for ages.
Just to let you know, everyone that I know that has seen this hated that film. I know really
you said before, but you liked it, yeah. That's why I put it on, because I thought, obviously, it was around the time of Nosferatu and all that as well, and this is just one. It's just a couple of chapters of the book, really, isn't it? They've kind of expanded, yeah. So I'm definitely going to watch that. If in between football, obviously, because I just seem to be watching all the time. But yeah,
it's wall-to-wall football at the moment.
I know. I watched Airport 77. This is my ongoing watch of these old airport films. I saw the original one, and I think I talked about Airport 75, which was a direct inspiration for Airplane, because there's so many. It's like the nun with the guitar and all this, and the sick child are in Airport 75. Airport 77 there's a heist actually takes place on the plane. They basically knock everybody out on the plane, the bad guys, and the idea is that they knock everybody out, they put the plane in autopilot, and they steal what they're going to steal, and basically get off the plane. But of course, it goes horribly wrong, and the plane actually hits the ocean and sinks, but stays intact, and all the people are in the plane under the water, and it's how they're going to try and get out of there, and how the authorities are going to find them, because it went off course, and they took the beacon offline so that they wouldn't know where the plane was and all this. So that was actually, it's a good laugh. It's a disaster film, you know. It's a disaster film on a theme, and it's full of stars. There's loads of people in it that you recognise, so you know that they're all going to get killed off or survive or be heroes or whatever in some sort of order. And it's a bit cheesy and everything, but it works. It works reasonably well, and it's an interesting way to do this kind of thing. And they obviously kind of ran out of ideas after that, because I think they only did one more after that, which was Airport 79, The Concorde, which obviously was and I think that was really bad. I haven't seen that one for years, like totally years. That was like 1980 or something that came out, and it was just like, oh my god, it's awful. It's not a good film. Even my young brain thought, no, this is shite. We can't have that. I saw a film called Stealth from 2005. It's quite present given sort of the way things are just now. It's about this elite fighter unit who they use sort of AI technology in planes, and there's actually a fourth plane gets added to their sort of flight crew, and it is completely AI, this plane, and it's supposed to work under the operation of somebody. This was supposed to be a sort of a basically kind of a Top Gun knockoff, because it's very fast planes.
I feel like I've heard of the name.
Yeah, and it was supposed to make a massive star out of Josh Lucas, because he was the big star, the big name in this, and it was going to, everybody's saying, yep, this is a film that's going to do it for him, and the film bombed, did really badly. It's him, Jessica Biel, and Jamie Foxx are the pilots in this. And it's just this, it kind of works. It's okay, but it is a bit cheesy in terms of the relationships and all this kind of thing, and the sort of character development. It just doesn't kind of work. But the aerial scenes look very good, and there is a bit of a surprising ending to it, which you don't kind of expect. But again, I can understand why it didn't do particularly well, which is a bit of a shame. I watched The Replacement Killers, which is Chow Yun-fat and Mia Sorvino. Chow Yun-fat is an assassin, and he is on a job for the Triads, and his job is to kill the son of a police officer who's chasing him and trying to, the police have had a few successes, so in order to stop him, they send him in to do the job, and he refuses to do the job. Just, very dramatically at the last minute. And because of that, they send in what are called replacement killers in order to carry out the job and to kill the assassin as well, assassinate the assassin. So Chow Yun-fat's trying to get away back to China to his family, and also get a passport. And this is where Mia Sorvino comes in, because she's this forger and all that, and they obviously have to go on the run. And it's very much a US version of a Hong Kong action thriller of the time.
Actually sounds
it's all right. It's okay, yeah, it's all right. There's lots of very stupid action in it, like firing guns sideways and all that, while diving to the side and all. That's the kind of thing that they parodied in Hot Fuzz. There's an awful lot of that, and it's like when we watch True Romance, it's the same idea as that. Like, they would have, it's almost like having a fight in a pillow factory, and there would be stuff like all this stuff, like it was very sort of engineered towards these sort of big scenes that look very good, and it's very glossy and everything. And it is a bit silly, but at least there's not a romance element between the two leads, which is quite nice. Yeah. Apart from the age difference and everything, it just didn't need it for the story, because he's actually trying to get back to his family. So it's not a good look if he's pumping somebody else like halfway across the world. So it doesn't really work that way. Yeah. And they didn't try to do that, which was actually quite good as well. I watched Office Romance. Have you seen this? It's on Netflix. It's brand new on Netflix. It's only been out maybe about a month. It's Brett Goldstein and Jennifer Lopez.
I saw the trailer for that, and I thought it looked bad.
Don't go on the trailer. The film is actually really good. It twists the sort of office romance rom-com kind of idea, because it's written from the perspective of Brett Goldstein. He actually co-wrote the film.
right,
And
okay.
he's a lawyer who works for a big airline company, and she's the head of the airline company. And of course, there's a policy where they're not supposed to get people aren't supposed. There's no inter-office romances and all this kind of thing. But they're obviously attracted to each other, and circumstances bring them together and all that. And it doesn't work out, and then maybe it will work out, and we just don't know and all this kind of thing.
Okay.
But there's some really good sort of English British comedy in there that I don't know. There's a couple of wee sort of short videos going about of Brett Goldstein doing a certain thing, and it's only like about 10 seconds, 15 seconds long. No, it's a spoken thing. It's not.
Oh, right, okay.
I know where your mind went to. Fuck's sake, man.
Yeah, it really did.
But it's not like that at all. So it's actually pretty funny. I really enjoyed it. I wasn't expecting to enjoy it. When I saw the trailer for it, it comes up on the split screen.
Looks bad. Yeah.
Netflix, and I thought, no, it looks really bad. But it's actually really quite funny because of the way that the comedy is actually put forward. It is very something that's very English sort of based comedy. Something you would get quite nicely, and they've obviously got that whole sort of culture clash thing in there as well. So
that's what I was going to say. The culture dynamics make it be quite interesting.
Yeah, definitely, and it works well. I quite enjoyed it. It's pretty good. I've watched another couple of Spider-Man films. Watched Spider-Man: Homecoming and Far From Home. I've only got 2 left. I've got one of the animated and the No Way Home film to watch. I mean, these are great, and obviously I'm just trying to get them watched before the new film comes out at the end of July. I think it's. I think it's end of July. Tickets are on sale already for them. They're both on Prime at the moment, but I think they're going to be leaving in the next week or so. So if you want to get them watched, obviously get them watched now. But having said that, they'll pop up on Netflix in 3 weeks' time, probably, because that's kind of I think they were on there before, and I actually went there first to try and watch it, and then couldn't find it.
I was going to say, how come they're not on Disney, but
they're
Sony.
Yeah, they tend to go all over the place, because for a while Netflix had like all of the Sony content in terms of the Spider-Man films, because they've still got the original. They've got the first trilogy on there still, and I think they may have the Andrew Garfield ones, but they don't have the most recent ones. They don't have the animated ones, and they don't have the. They did have the spin-offs. They had Madame Web on there, and okay. But I'm going to watch that again as well, just to punish myself.
Making bad choices. Like, somebody give that man a good script.
Yep. And well, obviously I've watched a couple about rewatch stuff for today's pod as well, but we'll talk about it later. And I watched the 1974 version of And Then There Were None, Christie, which is really good. It's very sort of cheesy 1970s, and I think Richard Attenborough's in this one. But again, it's like a whole sort of stacked cast from the time. It's set in this European villa. It's very exclusive. They all arrive by helicopter to it as well, so it makes it that kind of way. So it's all very isolated and all that kind of thing. But yeah, worked really well. I've seen a couple of versions of that. There was one I saw. It was not a BBC one, which was set in an island.
Aidan Turner was in that, because they had a gratuitous scene of him walking around in a towel, which I very much appreciated in the BBC.
Well, you're obviously getting your share of that on
in Rivals,
with Rivals as well, and obviously the added bonus of Danny Dyer in swimming trunks as well.
I watched an interview with him saying, "I don't understand why I've become a sex symbol. It can't be my stomach or my breasts." And I thought it's that self-deprecation though that people will love as well. He's not like being like, "Oh yeah, I've always been a right shagger me." Like, he's just like, he's kind of as shocked by as everybody else by it.
But he's very good. That's the thing.
He is. He's so good in this part. Like, it's generally the best I've seen him.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't need to overplay it in any way. He's playing a completely different type of character, somebody who comes from money and all that, but obviously is more sort of not common, but just a normal person.
Aye, but they are the new money of that set,
Yeah.
so it works because his wife is always making like faux pas in terms of like dress and food being served and all that sort of thing, whereas the English country set have very much got their routines and rituals and they don't quite fit into that. But he's just, there's something about him, like maybe it's the mustache.
So that's what I've been watching, the abridged version of what I've been watching.
Yes, a good mix
so,
for both.
Try and do as much as possible, but I'm trying desperately to finish off some stuff as well.
I know.
Got maybe about 5 or 6 different series in the go and things like that, which I will, ones I haven't mentioned even up until this point, so I will mention them when I do actually finish them as well. Just try and clear the decks a wee bit and sort of reevaluate and see what I've got, because the way I work, you're probably the same. You just add things onto your queues in these various services and say, right, I'm going to watch that, and then before you know it, there's like about 150 things in it. And,
I'm really bad for if I see an advert on Film 4, I'm like, oh, I want to watch that, record it, and then it sits for months on a planner somewhere.
Yeah, I've done a wee bit of that with Legend TV, so it's all these sort of 80s and
they've got all
the
the hammers and stuff like that on there as well. Yeah, they're good for that.
Yeah, and they're doing a lot of action films and stuff like that. But there was what service was it? I think it's ITVX. They have a whole section dedicated to Jason Statham films. There are 15 Jason Statham films there. If you're needing something mindless to watch, there are heaps of them.
I know this exists.
Yeah, I noticed that when I was scrolling through trying to find Spielberg films, which are actually quite hard to find on these streaming services. When I was scrolling through, it was like the Jason Statham collection. I was like, oh, and it's like, to my shame, I've seen every single one of them. But,
do you know what was funny? I was talking to a former colleague about Jason Statham films because he loves them, and I googled them and I was like, I've seen that. I was like, fucking hell, I've seen a lot of Jason Statham.
Yeah. Even if you haven't.
Here's me thinking I'm really highbrow. It's like, no, I've actually seen the vast majority of his film catalogue.
Yep.
Oh dear.